All right, we are going to move on to the class. All right. So there's 10 questions today. We have to be a little brisk with how fast we move today. And you can review if you need to. All right, question one. Hmm, Maria, Nestorov, can you read, please?
With respect to seeing emptiness directly, all living kind is divided into two basic types. List them: Tibetan track and Tibetan.
Yeah, what are the two possibilities? Maria, do you know?
Um, yes,
What are they?
those who saw emptiness directly and those who didn't, I'm assuming.
Yeah, yeah. Do you know the Tibetan?
Um, Pakpas are the Aryas and Sosakevas are the babies.
Yeah. Non-Aryas, babies. Yeah. Good. Correct. Please read the answers. Maria?
Ordinary beings who have not yet perceived emptiness directly, and those time remaining in the suffering life is still not defined.
Yeah. So means individuals or individual. Kewo means um person, basically. So it's just like kind of like any given person, ordinary person, something like that. Sanskrit's pratijana, something like that. Okay, read this.
Realized beings called Aryas in Sanskrit who have perceived emptiness directly and whose time remaining in the suffering life is limited.
Yeah, Pakpa. Pakpa means literally um exalted one, higher one, which is what Arya literally means too. Oh no, sorry. I hit the wrong button. Um Arya, um frankly, that's why Hitler used it, because he thought his people were superior, so superior beings or something. Um, although, that was an erroneous use of the word. That's how it got used or why it got used. Um, and that's the word Iran comes is the same word. Uh,
Hmm.
Persian is a Indo-European language from very closely related to Sanskrit. So Iranians, the noble people, it just means those noble people. It doesn't mean something negative or derogatory. All right. Uh, okay. Next. Mm, Daria, would you read, please?
Oh, yeah. Uh, Given two meanings of the Tibetan words for renunciation and explain its role in the direct perception of emptiness. Tibetan tract given two meanings in Tibetan and explain role in English.
Hmm. Two meanings for renunciation. Does anybody know? No? Two meanings for renunciation. I don't know what the question refers to exactly. Let me see. Renunciation literally means to definitely leave, meaning you are in Tibetan, Ngenjung, which means you're ready to leave samsara, um, or you will leave samsara. Mm, yeah. A second meaning? Mm.
I think it's asking specifically when you see emptiness directly in that respect.
Oh, explain its role in direct perception of emptiness. Yeah, it says that.
Could it be that you do not perceive anything else but emptiness? And that's a form of cessation,
Maybe.
renunciation. I don't know.
Well, you you definitely will leave samsara if you see emptiness directly. So that connects with the word ngenjung, the literal meaning. Um, and maybe it's a deeper kind of renunciation because you can no longer have a self-existent belief in objects. Like maybe it has to do with, yeah, maybe it has to do with the cessations that happen from seeing emptiness. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. Read this, Daria.
The Tibetan word for renunciation is Nianjun, which translates as definitely come out. In one sense, this means Rabjung, or come out of the worldly life.
Okay, yeah, that's the one I said. Yeah, nge, and you put an N sound after it for this means definitely leave or definitely come out. Nenjung. That's short for nge parjungwa. And rabjung, similar. And this can also mean to be ordained or become a monk or nun. Short for rabtujungwa, to like leave regular life or worldly life. But the second meaning, uh, read this.
The second meaning of the same words indefinitely come out of suffering, and in this sense, it refers to nirvana, the end of suffering. Role.
Good. I'll
Mhm,
read this. I'll read this part.
mhm.
Role. It is necessary to reach a true state of renunciation in order to attain the first of the five paths. Oh, this is what they meant? Oh, that makes sense. The path of accumulation, without reaching the first path, the third is impossible. In a practical sense, one has no physical or mental time to study sufficiently or attain a deep level of meditative concentration, both necessary to reach the direct perception of emptiness, unless he or she has given up a life focused on worldly goals. Yeah. Uh, Tsoklam is the first path. Yeah, I didn't realize that's what Geshe was referring to. Yeah, to get on the paths, you need renunciation in the first place, which then will lead to seeing emptiness. Okay, great. Number three. Please read. Loan, can you read?
Yes, name and describe the principle most important for reaching an intellectual understanding of emptiness at the path of reparation.
Yeah, preparation. Good. Um, yeah, the second path is called the path of preparation. And you have to understand something to see emptiness. Does anybody know what that is?
I forgot the name of it, but it's basically when you see the seed opening and becoming something. You see direct, um, you see karma, basically.
That's chuchok. Yeah, that's called chuchok. When you see directly how you create objects uh through it's not exactly karma, but it's related. Dependent origination. You see dependent origination directly. And the subject matter that leads you to it is called chichejak. Everybody say Chichejak. Yeah, Chichejak. Chichejak is quality and characteristic. Um, how an image can be a thing. Yeah. How the thing that comes out of your seed can then be the thing you call things and work as things, like pens and pots and your boyfriend. Okay. Anything. Houses. All right. Yeah, let's read it. Read this slow on.
Yes. This is the principle of quality and characteristic, Chichida, which is more broadly translated as general and specific. There are four types of general, three of which are especially relevant here. They are type general, Richie, actual object, generals, Dunji, and term general, Daji.
Or good. I'll read I'll read the rest. It's just long. An example of a type general would be a car, which is a quality, chi, of a Chevrolet characteristic, chechak. Okay? Car, the chi. J characteristic, Toyota, Chevy. An example of an actual object general would be your mental image of a person whom you had actually met before. An example of a term general would be your mental imagination of a person whom you had heard someone talk about but had never actually met. All right? Um, yeah. Yeah. The fourth type of a general is a collection general, which refers to the whole composed of its parts. An example here would be a person's body composed of a head, legs, arms, and torso. All right. So it's how reality manifests. All right. Chi, chejak. All right. So rikchi, dunchi, and drachi. Dra here means term. Dun here means actual or real. I don't know. Rik is like a category. What does Geshe say? Type. Yeah, type. Yeah. Chejak means specific or characteristic in this case. Chi means general or quality. It's also Sokchi. He didn't put it. The fourth one is Sokchi. All right, it's the same Sok and Soklam. All right, and the same Chi in all these. All right, we're moving along. Sorry if it's a little fast. We have time constraint. Um, Tatiana, would you like to read this?
Yes, teacher, I would like to read. Take care of literature. Translation. Okay, sorry. Describes the realization which occurs, occurs. I don't know how to read this one.
Occurs, yeah.
Occurs at the level of the path of preparation known as highest dharma.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Chuchok in Tibetan, okay? I gave it away. What happens at Chuchok? Chuchok, you go to make your teacher some tea and you look at the pot and you see that the pot is not a pot, it's an image coming out of your mind that gets put on parts, a handle, silver color, um, a lid, uh, concave, and that is what you call a pot because the image forces you to say see pot, and no other pot is possible. And that's all the pots you've ever seen in your life. All right? That's chuchok. I'll read it. Let me just read it time-wise, okay? The level of highest dharma occurs at the very end of the second path, the path of preparation. Shortly before, say on the same day a few hours before, a person goes to sit in deep meditation and perceives emptiness directly. At this level, the person for the first time understands perfectly, directly, the process by which he, she, they is constantly perceiving indications of an object. Then idealizing them as a general in his mind, and mistaking this idealization for the actual object. This process is the exact way in which deceptive reality operates. So although the person has been living in deceptive reality forever up to this moment, he, she, they has never seen directly what he, she, they is doing. It's the first time. So it's called chu chok. Chok means supreme. Chu means thing. So it's the supreme thinger. It's the highest point in which you can be in deceptive reality. Because the next point is seeing emptiness directly. And that's it. That is that is how the film projector works on the movie called Your Life. Okay, Kunzo Dempa. Right? That's it. Just how reality works. All right, next. Um, oh yeah, Kunzo means fake, okay, or deceptive. Dempa means truth or reality. Okay. Lynn, please read.
Yes. Explain two meanings of what is something called the non-duality of subject and object as the path of seeing, and what is not the meaning of this term.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is a big one. As far as Dharma rumors go, does anybody know what does non-dual actually mean and what does it not mean?
As I remember correctly, from the diamond cutter that you taught, this is not about non-duality, but rather non-discrepancy.
Yeah, lack of there's no more discrepancy. Yeah, what does that mean? What is the discrepancy?
The discrepancy between the way you perceive the world and understanding or seeing the emptiness of it. And when you reach the third path of seeing, there is no more discrepancy between the two.
Right, because you're seeing the fact that things are completely empty. Nothing else, including you. So there's no more. So that's what people consider duality. Like they thought something like uh realization or this realization was believing that you and the object were the same thing. So it's not dual. It's not that there's two, but they're the same thing. And that's not exactly true. They're the same in that the fact that they lack any self-existent nature. But it's not that me and Maria are the same thing, right? We're not the same person. Although we are the same in the fact that my actions create the Maria I see. And that's true. But there's a delay. It's not happening simultaneous to the action. It is happening simultaneous to the projection. Got it? Non-dual is a bad translation, okay? Uh, that only a non-aria could come up with. All right. I'll read it time-wise. Non-duality of subject and object, in one sense, refers to the fact that during the direct perception of emptiness, one cannot be aware of himself or his own mind, since this part of deceptive truth, since this is a part of deceptive truth or reality, and not a part of ultimate truth or reality. This means that during the direct perception of emptiness, one cannot even think to himself, I'm finally perceiving emptiness directly. Okay? Um, so this is ninang mepa. Ninang. There appears to be two. Okay? So mepa, that's not the case. So there is no longer a discrepancy between the two. All right? And the two is how things appear and how they actually are, not you and the object. You don't merge with emptiness or something. You just can't perceive anything else because that's all your karma is perceiving. B, subject and object are non-dual as well in general, in the sense that they are both equally void of self-existence. This is sometimes referred to as their equality. Nyam nyam means equal, ni means ness, equalness, equality. Yeah. All right. There's more. C, not the meaning. Non-duality does not mean that subject and object are somehow really the same thing, or that they do not exist as separate objects, or that I am somehow the world around me, or any other such wrong idea. Most of these ideas are classic forms of the extreme of nihilism, which is specifically and strongly refuted by the philosophy of the middle path, as it goes beyond, as it goes between the two extremes. Yeah. The Tibetan term for non-duality of subject and object during the direct perception of emptiness is pouring water into water. Chula Shakpa. It's very famous. Like if you pour water into water, you can't really tell the difference. Although it is different. Sometimes they say Marla Mar Shakpa, pouring butter into butter. It's rare though. All right. Cool. It's kind of the most important class in the whole. You see, we're going really fast through it. All right. Theodore, Tero Chiteshte.
Yes, thank you.
Please read.
Give the name of the state of mind following the direct perception of emptiness at the path of seeing, and list the four objects understood at this point.
Yeah. What's the name of it? Does anybody know? It's called The Aftermath. Were you going to
The
say something?
yeah, the four Arya truths.
Yeah, in the 4 hour shoes are what's understood. I always remember Aftermath because it's Dr. Dre's record label name too. So, in my head, I hear Dr. Dre. This is the millennium of Aftermath. All right. So, yeah, it's in Tibetan, it's J-Top Yeshe, okay? The wisdom that you that you that arises or happens or you get after seeing emptiness directly. Okay? Um, All right. And yeah, the four Arya truths. So after that, you have a series of realizations because you saw emptiness. And I akin it to this, like realizing that your uncle's an alcoholic or something. If you realize your uncle's an alcoholic, you'll be like, oh, that's why he acted like that on Thanksgiving. Oh, that's why he smells like that. Oh, that's why he doesn't have a job. Oh, that's why my mom doesn't like him. You get it? It's not like it makes sense. If you realize something, there's going to be a bunch of, if you see something directly, if you see your uncle drinking, getting drunk directly, you're going to be like, oh, or your husband cheating on you or something. You'd be like, oh, that's what all the late nights were about. You get it? So that's how it works. After you have a meditation realization, you have a bunch of successive understandings as a result of the big realization. It's logical. It's not just some idea. The four truths come after seeing emptiness. No. And they're called the four Arya truths, by the way. All right, blah, blah, blah. Because you become an Arya and then you get it. Name, the state of mind following the direct perception of emptiness on the path of seeing is known as subsequent wisdom. J-top, Geshe. J-top means like afterwards or subsequent to. All right, here we go. For the first time, one perfectly understands that all life is suffering. This is the Arya truth of suffering. Dukneel Denpa. And this is all life without the understanding of things are being empty, okay? Sometimes people get confused with this. They're like, so that means it doesn't matter? You can't get enlightened? No, all life is suffering before you have this realization. This is when it stops. All right. B, one perfectly understands that this suffering has come through ignorance, especially in the form of the perception of misperception of reality, the bad thoughts that it creates, and the karma inspired by them both. This is the Arya truth of the origin of suffering. Meaning, you don't realize your uncle's an alcoholic, and you get in the car with him, you hang out with him, and not realizing that it's doing bad things to your mind, or you could get in a car accident. Okay? These things connect. It's not just some idea. Duknyal Denpa. Duknyal means suffering. Denpa means truth. Kunjong means source. Denpa means truth, right? One sees directly that it is possible to end this suffering. This is the Arya truth of cessation. Gok means ending or cessation. Den or Denpa means truth. And one sees how to reach the end of suffering, especially by the use of direct perception of emptiness. This is called the Arya truth of the path. Lam Den. Lam means path, Den means truth. Yeah, you see, like, oh, if I keep having this realization, these realizations, all my suffering will end. And you also see if other people did that, that would happen. And you also understand why they can't or why they don't. Mostly because of karma, like too much momentum from past lives. All right. Number 7. Mike Hoffman, you there?
I'm chilling, chilling in the aftermath. There ain't gonna be nothing after that.
What does he say? You can have rap
Give me one
back.
more platinum plaque and F rap, you can have it back.
Yeah, that's it. Almost like- Exactly. All right, read this.
least two actual examples of the four objects listed in question 6.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so it's not just these ideas. You have actual like applications that happen in your mind. Uh, does any we'll go through them kind of fast. What about the truth of suffering? What do you realize?
That, that everything is suffering.
Specifically, you realize every reception you've ever had is wrong, and that you've been completely selfish your whole entire life. You've never done a unselfish thing. Yeah. Something like that. I sometimes I mix up which ones go with which. So if I do, I'm sorry. Next is the source. Those two might be the source. Damn it, let's look at them. Um, Here we go. Read everything, Mike.
Two or more of the choices are listed after each letter. A. One perceives truly the fact that he or she is impermanent and must die. For about a day, one can read other people's minds and see directly the mental afflictions in them.
Okay.
B. One understands that he or she has never had a correct perception at all in any moment of his or her life so far. One understands that all of his or her actions are actually only selfish and self serving. Even religious studies and rituals and offerings are constantly infected by self interest, desire, and pride.
Yeah, that was the source. I'm glad we're looking.
Mm.
Read this.
See, one understands that the emptiness which he perceived directly was the essence body of the Buddha. One knows how many lifetimes it will be, for example, 7 or more, before his enlightenment. One realizes that he or she will not be called by his or her name at that time. One understands that representations of the Buddha and tantric deities, such as paintings and statues, originated with someone who actually saw them.
Yeah. Yeah, they're actual images. They're pictures before cameras. And this one?
One understands perfectly that his perception was accurate and correct, not a delusion or a hallucination. One has an almost physical sensation of bodhicitta, a love spreading out into the world from one's heart, and an intention to help the world. One, for a time, loses all desire for worldly objects such as food, understands that miracles like turning iron into gold are possible, and realizes that the contents of the scripture are all perfectly correct, that the Dharma is absolutely correct, that the Dharma is the absolutely correct way. One understands the meaning of the diamond. One understands truly the need to prostrate oneself.
Yeah, that's the path. Yeah, we could get into any of that for a long time, but we only have 14 minutes. You can review. Please review. Review the review. Thanks, Mike. Who wants to read this next one? Uh, Kimchi?
Yeah. Hello, teacher.
Hi, please read.
Yeah. Explain the meaning of the term illusion during the second half uh, of the path of seeing and on. Explain what illusion does not mean. Tibetan just give Tibetan term from illusory.
Good, thank you.
Thank you, teacher.
You're welcome. Does anybody know what illusion means and what it doesn't mean? It's very important. Go
Things are
ahead, Mike.
coming from things are coming from their own side.
Yeah, illusion Uh, once you come out of direct perception of emptiness, you realize that uh, everything, nothing has any self-existent nature. Okay? Meaning everything is coming from you and there's no nature to anything. Although it appears as if they have some nature of their own. So intellectually, you understand that even though they seem to still have that nature. Okay? And what does it not mean?
That nothing's real or that things don't exist or that nothing matters.
Yeah, or you can just pass your, because the word illusion usually means something that has a visual component, but not a solid component. So you could like pass your hand through it. So it's kind of a hard, it's the wrong word, but there's no word in English for it really, for the actual word that I know of. So that's a problem, and it's led to a few hundred years of bad translations, but all right, good. Oh yeah, the Tibetan Guma. Guma means illusion. Tabu means like an illusion or like. Mm, I'll read it. During the direct perception of reality, one stopped seeing objects as self-existent. After coming out, one sees them again, despite himself, as self-existent. He knows he is wrong but cannot stop himself. Like Ulysses tied to the mast. Um, that's is it Ulysses? Isn't it Odysseus? I thought it was Odysseus. Anyway, um, it's from a Greek epic, right? I thought it was Odysseus. Maybe it's Ulysses. Has himself tied to the mast of the ship so he can hear the sirens, the mermaids, singing their song, but can't act because they always try to get you to crash your ship into the reef so they can like, I don't know, eat you or something. But if he's tied to the mast and all the other people have their ears covered, then they won't fall into the reef. They won't crash into the rocks, but he can still hear the song. Anyway, therefore, objects are like an illusion for him. Illusion here does not mean that things don't exist or that nothing really matters, especially in the observance of morality. Perfect. Good. Give tabu. All right. Number nine. Number nine. Oh, it's Odysseus and Ulysses, according to
Yeah,
Mike and the.
apparently it's the same thing. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I don't think I ever knew that. Yeah, they call it the Odyssey because his name, Odysseus, right?
Yeah, it says Odysseus, aka Ulysses.
Oh, that makes sense. I was like, what? Ulysses. Okay, great. Thank you, Mike. I didn't know that. So, if somebody can read number nine. Does anybody want to that hasn't read? Maria Ivashenko?
Yeah, good evening, everyone.
Hey.
These the two mental functions which are forever stopped because of the first direct perception of emptiness in the path of seeing. Tibetan track and Tibetan also given the term of abandoned at the path of seeing.
Thank you so much. Uh, yeah, what are the two cessations? There's actually three. I don't, Geshe doesn't include the third one here for whatever reason. But what are the two of the three cessations on the path of seeing? Okay, one we just talked about. You have a cessation to ever believe that things exist from their own side again, intellectually. Um, Two, you can no longer doubt Buddhism. because you met a Buddha and you saw how you saw that everything is empty and realized the books are right. Um, and then three, which I don't think he includes here, is you no longer think that hurting yourself with austerities is some kind of positive thing that can bring you to realizations. Because you just saw emptiness, so you know what it takes to have a real realization, which is understanding how things work intellectually until you have the karma and meditative ability to see it directly. And that's it. Whipping yourself won't make that happen faster. All right. A, the intellectual belief in self-existence is forever stopped. No one could ever convince this person again that what he seems to see is correct. Denzen Kuntak. Um, Kuntak means, in this case, Kuntak means learned. All right. Denzen is how you hold things to be true. All right. So, yeah, this is like the intellectual or learned belief in how things are, something like that. Secondly, one can never again have doubt about the Buddhist teachings and path. He or she has seen directly their truth and that they lead to escape from suffering and reaching perfect enlightenment. Tetsum. Tetsum just means doubt. Oh yeah, Tongpang. Pang means to eliminate, okay? Or abandon or get rid of. Tong means to see. So it just means like tong lam ki pang pa. The things you will abandon or eliminate on the path of seeing. Tong pang. And then there's gompangs too. On gomlam, the next path after seeing emptiness and having J-top yeshe, you have your gompangs, which are all the rest of your mental afflictions and subtler uh, blocks to how things work, how things exist. Omniscience. The Tibetan term for a mental function abandoned at the path of seeing is tongpang. All right, one more, right? Okay, here we go. Um, is anybody left who wants to read? Xialing, do you want to read? Can you read today?
Yes.
Okay, please read.
Explain the function of the first direct perception of emptiness during the following the path that's of habitation.
Good, thank you so much for reading.
Thank you, teacher.
You're welcome. So anybody, what does direct perception of emptiness do on the path of habituation?
On the path of habituation, need you give yourself time to actually digest what just happened to you on the path of seeing. So I guess that helps you since you have the sensation of ever thinking that things exist on their own side, even though you still see it as such. You don't believe it anymore. So it helps you process.
Yeah. Yeah, you habituate yourself to what happened during the direct perception of emptiness, and then you see emptiness more times after that, either in one life or several lives, depending on how long it takes you to get to enlightenment. And that slowly but surely works away all the rest of your mental afflictions. And then you'll achieve nirvana either on the Mahayana track and to become A Buddha or on the Hinayana track to become an Arhat? Yeah. All right. I'll read. During the path of habituation, one accustoms oneself to what he saw directly during the path of seeing. He or she uses their new understanding of emptiness to remove the rest of the mental afflictions, as well as the seed of seeing things as self-existent. Yeah. Gomlam. Gom means habituate or meditate, depending on the situation. And Lam means path. And that's it. Now you have to do it. You need massive amount of good karma to see emptiness directly. All right. Like maybe you would do something crazy, like teach ACI for 7 months straight if you really wanted to see it. Okay. All right. Or move to New Jersey. Georgia's got some nice places, but it's kind of a joke. All right. That's it. Any questions? That will take 1 minute. Our translator has to go. No? Okay. That's fine. All right. Thank you. There'll be no class tomorrow. Tell your friends. We'll have 2 classes Saturday morning, back to back. And that should be fun. All right. If you have any questions, comments, save them until Saturday. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Thank
Yes,
you.
teacher.
Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
teacher.
Thank you, translators.
Cảm ơn
Bye
thầy.
bye you everyone.
Come on, bye.
Biết ơn thầy.